Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Knots to Talk About. As you all know now, the podcast that is primarily based Notts County Football Club. First things first, Tom, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm excited to be recording again. Always enjoy this part of the week. But yeah, I'm really good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. Can't complain. So let's just dive straight into it. Obviously, Saturday, 1-1 draw at Barrow. Just want to get your immediate thoughts on that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of I don't want to say negativity online, but I saw a lot of people were quite frustrated with the result and the performance and all those aspects. But I have to say that it was a game that we kind of expected. I said a 2-2 draw, but I expected it to be frustrating. Like they're fourth in the league now, and they've conceded the second fewest goals in the league. They're so good at what they do. They're hard to beat, hard to break down. When we went away to their place, obviously, it was a similar story. They were quite tough to break down and create chances against. So I think that it was a frustrating afternoon because of the way they play, and that's not a criticism of them because they've got to do what they've got to do, and they're good at their play style. And there's different ways of winning football games and different ways of picking up points, and they're very good at doing it from being solid, doing it from being hard to break down. But it's always a frustrating afternoon when you don't get many chances. We scored really from the only shot on target, I think, or one of the few shots on target. Um, but there were positive signs, I think, encouraging to take for sure. Definitely defensively, we looked, even though it's one game, very small sample, we looked a lot. There were signs there that we could be more solid as well moving forward. So I'll throw that back to you. What were your initial thoughts on it? Did you share in the online what they were saying negativity, or did you think it was more a case of a frustrating team to beat?
I can understand frustration a little bit because I did think we were quite slow in the attack. I feel like a lot of the players took way too long on the ball. But at the end of the day, we all knew that the sacrifice would have to be made. Like to reassess the situation at the back, you have to take your mind off the attacking shape to begin with. But at the end of the day, like the attack will take care of itself. I have no doubt of that. And like you said, we got much better defensively. I mean, Aidan Baldwin was absolutely fantastic from start to finish, and we'll obviously speak about him a bit later on. But I get the online frustration. I think because a lot of people are still unsure of the appointment, so I think that's where it stemmed from. But I mean, the reception that he got at the start of the game when he came out was absolutely amazing. Like I even thought, wow. And yeah, it was just one of them. But obviously on Barrow, for me anyway, they were quite comfortably the most negative teams to come to the Med Lane. But was that obviously something you expected to begin with?
Yeah, I think that's what they're good at. I think Pete Wild said it after the game himself. I think he said that that was them at their best. That sort of, especially away from home, they're not going to come and look to attack us. They've got two really talented forwards up top, Tom Telford and Cole Stockton. Both have got the ability to sort of create something from nothing. That both look like good players. Even if they didn't get many chances because of the way they set up. And it was just little things that, like the dark arts they had, in defence, every corner that they had, they would use our defender, and then they would what their attacker that was on the defender would wrap his arm around our defender and grab hold of Stone's shirt from behind, so the referee couldn't see it. He was using our player as a blocker to the referee, so it looked like they were just tussling with each other, but actually he was holding on to Stone, pulling his arm down. And it's little dark arts like that. That's what they're really good at. Is the fine details of how to beat teams with you know little dark tricks. And look, fair play to them. That's what they do. Um, is it a negative way to play? It's not the style that I would want to see us play, but they're fourth in the table and they've got a really good chance of going up this season. I think against the odds, probably a team that not that many would have expected to be right up there. So yeah, their style is what it is, and they're very good at it.
It's fair enough, mate. I think what you mentioned there is obviously true. Like the amount of times I saw Stone complaining about something on Saturday that was to do with what they were doing was staggering, really. But let's talk about a certain moment of the game that obviously involves a certain individual, Jodi Jones. I mean, I tweeted about after the game some of the challenges that I went in on him were an absolute joke, in my opinion. But the one that stands out in particular was obviously the one that's gone pretty viral in the last few days. And I just want to get your take on that because for me, That's a challenge from a player who's considerably out of control of his body. He's had no intention to win the ball. He stopped the counter attack. He's high and late, and the referee's booked him straight away. And I just want to get your take on that, because for me, that is borderline red card. In fact, it's borderline assault.
Yeah, mate. I think what it is with the professional fouls, I understand them, and obviously it's teams use them to good effect. But is that a professional foul or is that a reckless challenge? I think he's one of those where it falls into both categories. If he'd have run and pulled him down by a shirt, I think it's a different story to the way he flew in and took him out. Having watched it over and over again, it's difficult. Your opinion changes when you watch it one angle, and at one you think, oh well, it's a professional foul if you want to call it that. But should those fouls be allowed anyway? Like it's a little bit. I know it's in the rule book that it is a yellow, but it's not. I don't want to say not sportsmanlike, because obviously every team uses those sort of plays within the rules as much as they can and pushes them to the limits. But those fouls, like, it's not really what you want to be seeing in the game. It's one of those challenges where, like, it's definitely a yellow. It's probably more than a yellow, but it's difficult to say it's definitely a red. It's like one of those borderline, people would say it's an orange card if they had that implemented. People have spoken about that before, bringing like a sin bin sort of thing. But look, it is a reckless challenge. With Jodi's history of injuries, I was very worried for a few moments while he was on the ground, and I spoke to him after the game, and he did say he was still sore from the challenge, and he thought he obviously thought it should have been more. You could see on the pitch he couldn't believe that it was just a yellow. I think one thing as well is the referee made his decision very, very quickly. He didn't really think about it, didn't consult with his linesman, and I suppose he had a really good view of it because he was close, but I think he made his mind up that it was a yellow very, very quickly. I don't know what you thought about it, but for me, it's a difficult one. But I think it probably is more than a yellow, but it's a really tough one.
Look, for me, it was fuming, to be honest. It was like, obviously, over on the right hand side, we have Maka and Didzy in three clear spaces. Or maybe Jodi should have passed it earlier, but then at the end of the day, he shouldn't feel like he has to pass it early, because someone shouldn't want to be coming through his leg with a chainsaw. So, look, for me, it was an absolutely disgraceful challenge. The player knows what he's doing. Like you said, there's easier ways to do it. Pull his shirt, like even rugby tackle him if you have to. But it's an intention to hurt, in my opinion, because if you were cynical about it, you could just pull his shirt, drag him. But the fact that you've gone in, you obviously had an intention to take him out and hurt him, and you look at it even more now because he's one of our most important players. So you think, oh, if that was, well, obviously anybody else, maybe they would have just dragged his shirt, but to take him out like he did was just absolutely shocking. And to be honest, that was one of many. That was the second one of the tackle like that, because there was a time before where Jodi's breaking away, they just took him out straight away. I just think it's shocking, mate. I do think it's shocking. But on the topic of Jodi, 17 assists now, League Two assist record leveled, one more away from setting history himself. It's not a bad achievement for January, now, is it?
Oh, it's incredible, mate. And when you also factor in he's been on international duty as well a few times, so he's missed games through that. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, the quality of his crossing as well, it's just getting better. That was one in the second half for Maka, which dipped. It was the perfect dip on the ball, and Maka probably should have scored. I think he knows that himself, but like the ball was just unbelievable, and he's not going to slow down. Like touch wood, as long as he plays the rest of the season, he will break that record, and he'll smash it so much that it's going to be hard to break that record again. That'll probably be his record for a long time if he continues at the rate he's going. We've still got 3-4 months left of the season, and the guy he's getting better. He's getting better and better and better. I'll be relieved to get through. I've not seen any links. I'm not suggesting he's going to leave, but I'll be relieved to get to the end of January, because the form he's in, teams have got to be looking at him. You'd be stupid not to be looking at him. He is insane. I can't talk highly enough of him. I mean, the quality of his crossing from that side, it's just a joke. So it's no surprise that he's breaking the record, to be honest.
I honestly think the day he leaves this club will be the day that my heart breaks. I'm not even joking. Like Maka as well, but Jodi at the minute, he's just a level head of everyone in this division. So it's going to be a tough day, and I agree with you. But at the same time, I don't think he's going to leave in January, obviously, with so little time left. But the summer is going to be a dangerous time, especially if all these players keep up their form. But like you said there, the record, he's never going to slow down unless obviously someone tries to end this season again. I'm not sure what I'm referring to there. But 17 assists already, and like I said in last week's episode, I touched on it there, he's playing at wing back. It's not like he's starting the game at left wing and playing in the 10. He's literally, to get many of his assists, he has to either be in the right place at the right time or make a 20-30 yard run forward and then whip the ball in. So it's just a testament to him, really. And obviously, all the injuries he's been through, and he's came back and he's got back to full fitness, and he's just enjoying it now. Some games he just makes it look simple. I mean, the one game that sticks out for me was Newport Tuesday night at home. They're right back. Look, with all due respect, it was like a man against a kid. It was just the levels and quality was just different grade, mate. But obviously, I said we'll talk about Aidan Bolden, and this will be the time that I do it, because Saturday for me was his best performance of the season by far. Even before Aqua came on, he was fantastic when Aqua did come on. For a man of that size, and for the threat that he brings into the division, Bolden absolutely dealt with him comfortably. I think Saturday showed why he's our best centre half. Obviously, we haven't seen Warner play yet, but even then, I've always thought Bolden was. And I just want to get your thoughts on not only him for the season, but obviously that opinion of him being the best centre half of the club.
Yeah, he was sensational. He was brilliant. It was, Jodi got man of the match. I think rightly so, but you could have easily given it to Bowen. Yeah, he was brilliant. Every recovery run was there. Quality of passing was there. So like you say, he dealt with a few centre forward and Aqua like it wasn't an issue. Didn't really get a chance. So look, Baldwin has got unbelievable quality. I don't think anyone can ever doubt his ability. I think in terms of ability wise, he's easily above this level in terms of quality. Obviously, he's had his injuries issues as well, and also, of course, like we discussed before, and he will, I'm sure, admit it himself. He's sometimes prone to a lapse of concentration or a mistake, as all centre halves at his level are. But if he didn't have that in his game, he'd be playing. He won't be a Notts County player. He'd be playing at a much higher level because he's so good. He's a fantastic footballer, fantastic defender, and yeah, you can't praise him high enough. And when he's on it like that, there's not many better than him. There's not many better than him in the league, never mind in a Notts shirt. So yeah, the guy is brilliant. I'm really pleased that he had a really good performance, and it's really encouraging that I think he's going to play a big role in the centre of that back three. It was a big position for the management team at Wheelstone, and I think that it's going to be a big position for them here at Notts, and I think that he is the perfect man to play that role.
100%, I agree, mate. And people forget, obviously, when he signed for us, he came from obviously MK Dons, and he played quite a few games for him in that season as well. So he is definitely League One quality. There's no doubt about that. So, but obviously at the time, he had a connection with Williams from his Bristol City days, and he came, obviously played for us there. Had a very good season last season, I thought. Obviously, he did what he did in the playoff semi-final. Brilliant. That for me sort of gave him his name. And then obviously this season he's had a few mistakes, whatnot, but you can't deny the fact that on his day, as he had on Saturday, he's absolutely brilliant. And I agree with you, one of the best in the division. But you spoke about him there, the Wheelstone management team, that are now our management team, their first game of the weekend. And I just want to get your first impressions, really, because obviously I know you did a bit at Wheelstone whilst they were there. Well, now they came to Notts, and I feel like is anyone perfect to ask? Obviously, because you have more than your first impressions of them. But obviously, I just want to know from you, what were your first takes on how we play football on the net?
Yeah, I thought we were more solid straight away. I think you could notice the centre midfielders were a little bit deeper. There was always one of them in the back three, and they also. The reason they were always in the back three is because they were pushing one of the wide centre backs forward. So a lot of the time, Cameron was joining in the attack on the left hand side, which we've seen before. But I think it's going to be a much bigger theme of our play because they'd love to create those wide overloads with the centre backs. But then they managed to temper that with a midfielder dropping deep, and I think you could notice already that the midfielder's positioning was a little bit deeper. We were a little bit more solid, I think, and yeah, that is going to cost us going forwards. I think it has to, though, because you have to have balance. And the quality we've got up top should be enough for us to create chances. And yeah, it was a good game in terms of there wasn't a lot of threat coming the other way at times, but also at the same time it was a difficult first game for them because it did possibly show a side of us where we had to play the ball slower because the team was so hard to break down. It's their first game, and I think they'll make tweaks as they go along. I think what it did show is there's not a lot going to change. If you watch that game not knowing the management team had changed, you wouldn't have known a lot was different. And I think that's a positive because we've had such a brilliant time in the last 18 months under Luke Williams that not a lot needs to change. I think there was very subtle things in terms of the midfield positioning, but overall, I think it was a positive, encouraging first performance. Was it the best performance we've ever seen? Obviously not. And were there negatives from the performance? Yeah, absolutely. But there was plenty to be encouraged by, I think, in terms of we were just more solid. What did you think of them? What were your first impressions? And do you think that we're going to see some improvements over the next few weeks?
So I think we saw an improvement on Saturday defensively. I thought we looked good. We had obviously the goal we conceded was a bit sloppy, but you can't defend perfectly over 90 minutes for every single game you play is obviously very difficult. So that's why teams concede goals. That's how you do it. You have moments where you switch off and you concede, and then every manager comes out at the end of the game and says why they conceded. But then the weeks after they still concede goals. It's just something you can't really cancel out. Like to win games of football, you score goals. Not trying to sound like Michael Owen, but that is the truth, the proof in the pudding. But no, I thought there was 100% a straight improvement on the defence. And I 100% agree with you when you say that if he didn't know about the manager change, it wouldn't look too different. In fact, you'd probably say, look, like we've been working on the defensive side of the game. Obviously, again, the attacking slowed down, but I feel like it's been a week and a half, and obviously, although the attack don't really need changing, every management team has different ideas for the way they want to attack. So I think you'll see different sides of that. We tried a few things on Saturday from set pieces. Did they work? Not really. But we did that previously, and sometimes they paid off, i.e. the Wrexham goal at Meadow Lane last season. So sometimes you just got to be patient with these things. But there's one final thing I want to speak about on Saturday's game, and that was obviously we signed Jaden Warner in the week. He didn't play. There was a lot of upset people about that online. I saw you tweet that just to give him a chance. But do you reckon that Brindley is going to be the man that gets the most game time, or do you reckon Warner will be back? Well, let's say Warner will be in for Mansfield. Do you reckon Brindley starts, or does Warner come back in?
It's difficult. It's a big game to put him in for his first appearance, isn't it? Now, that's why I would have liked him to have got 10 minutes. I'll be honest, I would have liked him to have got 10, 20 minutes off the bench. I know it's weird to bring a defender on at 1-1, but I would have liked to have seen him get some minutes just to get comfortable. Because, like you say, Mansfield this weekend, it's not really a game you want to chuck a young player in for his first appearance. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him start. It really wouldn't. I think he will be the one going forward. My optimism hasn't dampened at all. In fact, I've seen him, in the flesh, and he's probably bigger than I thought he was. He's he's an absolute unit, and when they're doing the cool down runs, I mean, he's absolutely rapid, isn't he? And so, yeah, I would have liked to seen him get some minutes. I wasn't surprised he didn't start. I think I put him in my starting 11 for my prediction, but when he didn't start, it wasn't like I was absolutely outraged that he hadn't. I can understand why you wouldn't start a player that's only signed during the week. Will he start against Mansfield? It's a good question. Like, it is a big game to start him in, but I do believe he's got the ability, the composure, the mentality to suit that game. So I'd like to see him get some minutes, whether that's a start or whether that's off the bench at the weekend. But I do think moving forwards, come the end of the season, I think we'll be looking back on Warner hitting, played 15, 16, 17 games for us as a starter. So, yeah. What were your thoughts, mate? Did you want to see him start?
I was surprised not to see him start because of the profile and what that he's going to bring to the team. But I weren't surprised to see that it was Brindley again. And there was a lot of criticism for Brindley starting, a lot of stick, but people just need to remember, please, that 4 years as a Notts County player, 4 good years. Memories, the Torquay goal sticks out for me massively, but not even just that. Like, the way that he made that middle centre half his own when he played under Birchnell, played massive parts for us last season, was with us the whole time we were in the National League pretty much, and then like the first few months because I remember he signed like in a random month in our first season. But he's been a fantastic servant, and whenever I see him in the team, I never complain because of the kind of what he's done for us. And it's the same to people like Jim, Slocum, Rawlinson. Like they've been here for so long, you can't hate these people because loyalty in the game these days, as we know, because we've seen it so often when people have promised us, "Oh, we'll be here for this long," and then look, a few months later they're gone, and that's no disrespect. Look, you make your money out of football. If you get offered triple wage somewhere else, you take it. So fair play to Birchnell, fair play to Williams. But yeah, the stick for Brindley, I think, is a bit uncalled for. You can have whatever opinion you want as a player, but it don't help any player when they go through comments and they see that their name's the constant one being attacked. So what I will say is just like maybe refrain from that. But
Yeah, just to jump in on that point as well about Brindley, they got a lot of negative criticism for the goal, and this is not, and like you say, the negative criticism doesn't help. And this is not me saying part of the criticism on Bostock because I don't want that to happen. But that goal for me, if you're going to blame an individual, he gave the ball away and then failed to regain the ball when he had the chance in a one-on-one. But people don't criticise him for that because he is one of the favourites. And whereas Brindley is an easy target because he's one of the ones, like your Slocums, like your Brindleys, like your Stones even, they are the ones that people like to pick at. And for me, like you say, I just don't think digging out an individual time and time again really helps. And also, especially when I don't really think that goal was particularly his fault. And so, if you're going to criticise him, you probably need to give the same level of criticism for that goal to Bostock, but people won't. So that's not me saying go out and criticise Bostock. Please don't. But also that's me saying, if you're going to give it to one player, you've probably got to give it to other players because players make mistakes, and that's the thing. People won't criticise Bostock because they say he's a brilliant player and he made a mistake. That's the truth. But also, Brindley's, like you said, has been a brilliant servant for the club. He's made a mistake, and there's no need to pile on him the pressure. So I think what you're saying is spot on. I just wanted to jump in and say, that's not me saying give the negativity out, but probably be fair with your criticism of players. Be fair and proportionate with it.
what I'll say on this, and this will be obviously the final point, is that like you said it there, everyone makes mistakes. Like players don't deserve to have all that criticism because of like everyone's human at the end of the day, and obviously, look, footballers make mistakes. It's not just in our team; it's in every team. Every week, at least half the teams that play will make a mistake because that's just the intensity of the game these days in England. But look, we'll just move on now. We spoke a lot about players, and obviously we like to play this little game where you have to guess the players. I've got 3 for you this week, and no pressure, mate. I can see you blowing your cheeks already.
I'm nervous, mate.
I don't know what we could call this game. I saw someone on the comments say, give Casey a headache. Sorry about that, Toby, by the way. If you are watching again, I am terribly sorry that I got it wrong. Well, I didn't get it wrong. It just took me a while. But we'll start with your first one here. So his first club was Botsford Town. I think that's how you pronounce them. Then he moved to Scunthorpe. Any guesses off that?
Scunthorpe. I think Sam Slocum is ringing a bell. I think Sam Slocum for Scunthorpe.
Fair play. First one.
Is that right?
I did not expect you to get that so soon. That has
I'll
hurt me.
explain why I got that because a while ago someone messaged me and said Slocum used to play a lot of he used to play Sunday League in Scunthorpe. I think that's where he's from, and something like he was an attacker or he played up front or something in Sunday League, something like that, and it was in Scunthorpe, so that's in the back of my mind. I'm relieved I've got off to a good start. Mate, because that's a relief.
Look, if you're that person that sent Tom a message, thanks for that, because I did not think you'd get that so soon. But yeah, next player. Burton Albion. AFC Telford United low.
Burton Albion. Matty Palmer.
That is not the correct answer.
Ooh, okay. Burn Albion. Telford. Can't be Midlands then, isn't it? Midlands boy. No, next team, mate. Next team. I don't know.
And then he went to Leamington on loan.
Telford, they're both Midlands, aren't they?
Mm,
Ooh. Midlands, so can't be. Keepers. No, not Brooks. Centre backs. With the Midland centre backs. Badrami. Is he Badrami? Austin and Badrami's in my head because of Midlands. Anyone else? Jones? No. I have to go next team, mate. I have to go next team.
next team is Kidderminster Harriers.
Oh, he's one of them, isn't it? It's Badrami or Austin. I think Badge is Birmingham City from when I interviewed him. So I'm going to go Sam Austin. But it could be 50-50.
Austin is correct.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that one. Took you a little longer.
That is a good one. Like, surely I thought I could have. I probably would have put my house on it being Palmer Burns. So, yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
I'm happy with that one. Made you
I
think.
didn't know he played for Burton, Sam Austin. Did not know that.
Started there. Youth career started there, but only played one professional appearance.
Fair enough.
Final player, MK Dons, Leighton Orient loan.
Adam Chickson. Surely, MK Dons, Adam Chickson.
Down. Now the one that I thought would be obvious for you was Austin.
Really?
The two that I thought you'd think about because of like how long their career paths are, I thought you'd have struggled, but it's a complete opposite. I'm quite disappointed actually. I am, especially after that Toby one, because obviously Sam
Austin. I struggled with that.
Because he's kind of like he's not a fringe player, but he's kind of one of them players that you don't really think about his career path. So I thought chuck you in there, but.
Again, Chick's only because Milton Keynes. Again, because I know I think he might still live there, but he does all his IFAFs, doesn't he? I think they're in Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
So he's mentioned that before. I think it's his mum's pool in it or something in Milton Keynes. He said that before.
I'm disappointed, but look, that was the game this week. Let's move on to the game on Saturday. The big clash, the Nottinghamshire derby. We meet Mansfield again. Obviously, they beat us 4-1 at home at the start of the season. We don't really like to talk about that. We don't really win at their place, but look, these ones have to come to an end. So, what are you expecting this weekend?
I just hope it's not. I hope it's not a repeat of the 4-1 you mentioned. And I'm going to jinx us now, but they are struggling. Like in terms of scoring goals, they're really struggling. They've lost Reece Oates through injury. Jordan Barrow, I think he's been playing up front for them recently. I know he's been playing fullback all season, but I think he's been playing up front for them. He got sent off last week. So he's going to be suspended. Quinn got sent off as well, I think. So they've got a couple of suspensions. Will Swan's up front for them now, and he actually scored. And to me, he's a good forward, but he doesn't seem to get many minutes for them. So I'm just hoping we don't concede 4 again. Like, that was an awful day on it. And I don't want to dwell on it too long, but awful day. But touch wood, like they are struggling for goals. Like obviously they lost their last game and they drew the one before that with Sutton, who were right down the bottom. So although we know again you can drop points against Sutton, any team can. We have, but I'm hoping that it's a tighter game. That's what my initial. I think it'll be a similar game to Barrow, just because they've conceded the fewest goals Mansfield have. Obviously, they're a top 3 team for a reason, and they are struggling to score goals, but they're not conceding many either. Even with 10 men, they only conceded 2, I think, against Wimbledon, and they actually scored. So I think it'll be a tighter game. What about you? What are your hopes? Hopefully, we can at least avoid defeat.
Look, my hopes are that we go there and absolutely trounce them 5-0, if I'm being honest, because I don't like him. I'll make it publicly clear on this podcast that I don't like him, and I would love anything in this world for them to miss out on automatic promotion and we play them in the playoffs and eliminate them. But may not happen. I can say that bravely though, because if any Mansfield Town fan finds this, that's brilliant because they know that I don't like them now. But yeah, look, it's a derby. Both sets of fans will be up for it. Hopefully, both sets of players will be because last time only one set was. And yeah, look, it's a chance for Maynard to get his first big win, but there's a lot of big games coming up. But I do feel like we need to start picking points in this run. Yeah, okay, we've only played once. We got a draw in a game that I thought we should have won. So we have to win. Yeah, some games coming up. If you look at our next 4 games from Mansfield, Gillingham, Newport, Wrexham, we took 6 points out of that. That'll keep you in the playoffs. So Gillingham and Newport will be the 2 games that I target to win. However, this one, if we got a win out of this one, I'll happily lose to Gillingham or I'll happily lose to Newport because we beat Mansfield in the day. So it is what it is. But I agree. I think it'll be a similar game to Barrow. I know that they've got two men suspended, and obviously Flint went off injured, but that don't really matter because they are still a good team regardless. And I think the best thing that we have for us now is the fact that we look much better defensively. So we're going to go there knowing that we look better defensively, and it's a defensive performance to build off. In a derby as well, where you have to defend well to have any chance of winning, otherwise you get blown away. You've seen it many times in every derby that gets played. If you don't defend well, you get trounced. Everyone's fuming at you. There's a lot of pressure on our players, of course there is. There's a lot of pressure on their players, although they're in a better position than us in the table. You know, not going there to get beat, and they're not going to want us to beat them at their place. So, be a good game, sold out, away end. Not sure how the 2 home stands have sold. But look, however they've done it, fair play to them. I'm ready to. I'd honestly go tomorrow if it meant we play obviously tomorrow because I'm not excited. But just hopeful, mate. I'm just hopeful, but obviously I want to get your take on Nigel Clough as well because a lot of people obviously have their takes on him. You know, good experienced manager. He's obviously clearly not playing football. They're clearly doing well. I just want to get a penny for your thoughts. So obviously they got beat on Saturday by Wimbledon, but if you look at their results, beat Stockport away, obviously trounced us. You know, so a penny for your thoughts on him.
Yeah, well, on their form, they're winless in 4, and a win would take us just 4 points behind them. So they've obviously had a much better, like I say, a much better season. It feels like they've had a much better season than us. But if we did beat them on Saturday, then we would move right behind them in the table. So, you know, it's these kind of games where, look, I'd probably take a draw now if you offer me. That's really negative. But if we go for these games, these are the kind of opportunities which can really swing a playoff or a promotion battle in your favour. Yeah, Clough, I know he's got people that absolutely love him. He's got people that absolutely don't like him. And I saw obviously he got a lot of criticism online for at the weekend complaining about a penalty shout, and their fans are adamant that it was. And having seen it, it's again, it's one of those where it's a bit like the Jodi one earlier. You can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, if had that been given against us, say that kind of decision gets given against us this weekend, you're probably absolutely fuming. So on Clough, yeah, he's done really well this season, to be fair to him. I had my doubts at the start of the season because of the age of their group. They've got a very old squad, and they brought in older players as well, like Flint, who's had a brilliant season. And, you know, I'd never wish an injury on a player, but hopefully he's missing on Saturday and then he can come back and have a good season. But if he's missing this weekend, that'd make our life a lot easier. But yeah, he's got an experienced group playing well. He's incorporated a couple of younger players as well, and he's done well this season, to be fair to him. And it's going to be a tough game, isn't it? But I think our chances are better now than they were 2-3 weeks ago. Because had this game been played 3 weeks ago, around the turn of the new year, I think you're probably predicting a heavy defeat. But now it feels like a lot more level playing field.
No, I 100% agree. I think if this game was played 2-3 weeks ago, we would have been in big trouble, like you said. So I agree with you there. And look, I think Clough deserves a lot of respect because of how they got him playing. I mean, in previous seasons, they've been a team that have always looked convincing and then fallen. I don't see it happening this season, unfortunately. I just think they look consistently good. Every team gets beaten, but from what I've seen of them, especially at Meadow Lane, absolutely still are, and I don't think we'll ever see this season a better team come to their lane. Other than obviously we've still got Stockport to come, but you don't know what Stockport's going to turn up in a few months' time. So for me, Mansfield probably will be the best team we've seen at the lane this season because I thought they were brilliant. And it was disappointing because obviously they were the only team I looked interested. But hopefully if that's a thing to go off about the start of the season, we'll be the only team that looks interested on Saturday. But I just don't see it. But yeah, let's talk about to round it off really. Let's talk about how you see us setting up there. Obviously, we're not going to change how we set up. It's going to be 5 with the 2 and the 2 and the 1. But do you see any little tweaks being made to, like, obviously I know they got that Kelly Dunn and, Will Swan, just a few names. Do you expect to see any tweaks made to, nullify them?
I wouldn't mind seeing a right-footed midfielder in central midfield. I did think that at times, because we've got 2 left-footers, it felt a little bit like the angles to pass were a little bit forced. Like whoever was on the right-hand side had to come back onto the left, and both Robertson and Bostock are quite left-footed players. It's also a big game, and Jim gets trusted in these big games a lot, so I wouldn't bet against Jim starting this weekend. I know they brought Austin on. Again, I predicted him to start this weekend just gone. That's probably just me. I just prefer a right-footed central midfielder. I think it feels a lot more natural when you're a team that keeps the ball. You kind of need those kind of natural angles that gives you. And I wouldn't mind, like I say, betting that Jim would come into the team because of his experience. He's a big game player. And Warner's the other one. I think Warner might come in. Again, height comes into it. If Flint is playing, they're going to have a lot of threat from the set pieces if he is back fit. I can't see us change anything in terms of the attacking players. I think that stays the same, the wing backs and the front 3. So I can only see maybe 1 or 2 changes, but it wouldn't surprise me if we went there completely unchanged. And in terms of prediction for the game, because it's going to be tight, I'm actually going to go for another 1-1 draw. I think we'll draw again 1-1, and I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Often that I probably wouldn't say no. Much so on beat them, but I don't. So yeah, I'd take a draw. Well, I'm hopeful that we can go there and win. I've been there 3 times. Not seen us win any of them, so hopefully the 4th time is lucky. Instead of the 3rd time, obviously, where I watched the score last time 2-0 in the relegation season. So yeah, not fantastic. But yeah, I agree with you. With the 2 left-footed centre midfielders, I don't know, Robertson was just kind of, I don't know. First half, I just thought he was kind of like lacking that bit of like intensity. Second half, he grew into a little bit. Obviously, came off Austin. I do think I said this after the game to some friends. I said, Jim, in these games, it's not only what you get from Jim on the pitch; it's also the passion. How much it means to him because he knows how much it means to the fans. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Bostock and Jim. Robertson, but the thing is, what I say about Robertson is when he came off, we kind of lost that balance in the field because he does hold his position quite well. So, look, who knows what's going to happen there? But I just hope we go there, put in a good performance and get a win because what that would do for the club, for the rest of this big run, well, not only just the club, but obviously the new management team as well, it would be amazing to have that moment with them at the end of the game when we just won a derby and everyone's happy and the passion's coming out of everybody. It'd be brilliant. But obviously, you said 1-1. I'll sit on the fence and I'll go 2-2. Just because I don't know. I can just see it being one of those games where they score first, then we score, then we score, and then they score, and then it ends as a stalemate. So 2-2, 1-1. We'll probably be coming back next week and saying, wow, what a day to forget, or wow, what a brilliant day, or wow, we was correct. It's either going to be one of the 3. But obviously that rounds up the episode. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure to be joined by you, Tom. As always, this has been a pleasure to record so far, 4 episodes. Obviously, the first 3 have done well. Sitting at a basis of about 300 views an episode, which is obviously brilliant for a newly started episode, podcast rather. But you look at some of the stats that we have now, I think it's 24 subscribers away from 200 on YouTube, 11 followers away from 100 on Spotify. I mean, we've been doing this for 4 weeks now. And so obviously you have no right for anyone to watch your videos, but to have an episode that's almost on 1,000 views in itself and have a combined total that after this episode and in a week's time we'll probably be saying, this next week's episode will get us above 2,000 views. So obviously there's probably no ceiling on this podcast at the minute. obviously we are working hard to get guests on. Obviously these things obviously take time because obviously you have to go through the permissions and clubs, but we are working on it. And is there anything you'd like to add to that, Tom?
Yeah, just thank you for all the support, really, and obviously if you can subscribe and like and follow on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube, it does help us massively. We really do appreciate the support as well. We can't say it enough on here. And yeah, if you could just hit those subscribe and follow buttons, it takes a few seconds and it helps us out massively. So yeah, that's all I want to say. But yeah, been a pleasure.
I think that's a perfect way to end. But obviously, big game at the weekend. Please, please, please win not. Please. I'll do anything. Absolutely anything. See you next week.